I cannot narrate a story and I hate narrating a story. You open up YouTube and see the trending list. The most stupidest videos are on trending list. After Chandamama Kathalu, I was drained psychologically.
Praveen, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you again with us today.
Thank you, Hemant.
So I'm sure everybody would agree with me if I say this. So you shocked all of us with the trailer of your new
Hopefully the shock is a pleasant one.
Yeah. I don't think anybody saw that coming, especially with the cast that you're working with. Right?
Absolutely.
So I've been told that you first conceived the script 10 years ago. So what took you so long to bring this alive?
Yeah, this was my first script actually. 2006, before even I thought that I would want to make my first film. Before even I thought that I can write a script. So I just I was on a 4-hour flight and then I had nothing else to do. So I just started wandering in my dream world. And then by the time I landed, I had a script in place. But I did not pen it down until after 2 years. That is when actually I seriously considered getting into films and making.
This was back in 2008.
2009 actually, 2009 and 10. And then I wrote 3 more scripts after that, and scripts usually take that long. You cannot write a script today and make a film tomorrow, and you would see that reflecting in your film. A script should soak, because you don't like your script after 6 months. You go back and visit your script, you don't like it because you're maturing as a person, as a writer, not just as a writer, but as an individual. Your thought process changes, your perception towards society, towards characters, towards everything changes. So the script, most of these people today, they narrate a story. I cannot narrate a story and I hate narrating a story.
You don't like
I cannot. I would rather give a script, ask them to read, because my scripts are very detailed. Very detailed. It will talk about the action. It will talk about every minute thing that a character does in that particular scene, and they can visualize that. That script. So when you're reading it, you will put your own visuals to it. So that is when you can see the completeness of a film. When you narrate, you can manipulate. So there is a lot of manipulation in narration. I've had these experiences with a couple of people who've narrated, and I felt, wow, it's really a good story, and then give me a script, and I read the script and like, what? So there's no link from scene to scene. There's no screenplay. So that is. But usually scripts do take should take years, and I think there's a lot of change from the first time I conceived to what is there now on screen.
Right. No, but when you talk about you not liking narrating stories, isn't that the norm in the industry where everybody prefers a narration? So
probably that is the reason why I haven't done a film with the A-listers yet.
Okay.
Because let's go. With this. I'm like, no, I'd rather give you a script. You read it. They can't find time to read a script.
Right. Going back to what we just spoke, right? I don't think anybody saw that trailer coming, especially with the kind of star cast that you had. Was it like your way of answering that this is what I can do if I'm given the right set of budgets or team?
Absolutely. I mean that is one way of looking at it. But when Rajasekhar and I had the first conversation, and he was desperate to come back, with a good film. They were suggesting, multiple, films, remakes, and all that. And I said, no, I have this script. I haven't titled it yet. We can call it Magada 2, contemporary times. But I think if you're really looking to come back, then you need a big bang. You can't just come with a 2-3 crore budget film, or with a story, whatever. You have to make people turn back and notice you, like, what? So that was the intention to begin with, and that's when the script became bigger. I've changed the entire second half of the film from the first version, it became bigger, and I wantedly incorporated larger than life story, larger than life situations in the script, because when when we were growing up, 90s until 90s, we used to have those large canvas films, right? Those huge climaxes, Adavi Donga, Jayadekvi Sundari, those were like huge climaxes. What happened to those climaxes? Those were the 70 experiences that, 2000s were all about love stories. Late 90s, I think we adapted that from Tamil industry, those subtle love stories, right? And then now is the time for horror comedies. So one house, three comedians, one heroine. Template. Right. So those are good for TV. I mean, and that's when Baahubali came in and broke everything. And like, guys, there is a wide market, but you need to make a film which appeals to wider set of audience, which would drive people to come to the theater. So we want to, I wanted to give that experience, but in a contemporary story. We always talk about Hollywood standards. We always talk about action, Hollywood action being, realistic and all that. It is all doable. It is not rocket science. It's just common sense.
Right.
So you have to incorporate the right elements into the script to get that output. And the right crew and the right planning. It's all about takes one day of planning. That's it.
Okay.
People don't have time for that either. So.
చాలా మందికి డౌట్ వచ్చే ఉంటుంది and I'm sure even they would have asked you, why are you doing a film with Rajasekhar?
Oh yeah.
All the time. Have you lost count of how many people ask you that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is your reply to that?
So right from my family to my extended family to to people who like me, who hate me, everyone, from the industry, a lot of people. I'm like, what? Why Rajasekhar? The reason, I think the answer would be, he's not a newcomer. He's seen his, glorious days. And he was a superstar once. Every hero goes through a slump. Right? All you need is just one right film to come back into limelight. We've seen 10 years of Pawan Kalyan in slump, and then his craze never went down. We've seen Nagarjuna's slump. Everybody goes through that. But yeah, so that's why. See, when you give a good script, when you give a good film, people would want to come back to the theaters and watch it. So all he needed was a good film.
Big drama like this, was everybody in sync with the world that you had envisioned, or did you have to handhold a lot of people in the cast and crew as well? Like, this is the film that we're making, so you better buck up and deliver.
Fortunately, I had the script bound 3 months before we went to shoot. So when we were casting people, all I had to do was just hand over them the script.
You're saying that everybody read the script?
Yes, everyone on
bound script.
Bound script, yes. Okay. Everyone from Pooja to Shraddha to all subordinates to
right.
and all that, from the direction department to art assistants to everyone, even the production managers.
This is something very interesting which I got from this pre-release event of your film, where you spoke about censorship and how you're completely shocked by the UBI certificate that you got, and you also made very interesting remarks about the way going forward. I think we are going into a very autocratic, semi-dictatorship.
Absolutely.
Do you really believe that that's going to happen in the near future?
I did not, until I was sitting in front of the censor officer and was appalled by the cuts he was reading out to me.
Like what? Give me an example.
I cannot, because I can talk about this after the release of the film.
Okay.
Because it's going to reveal the plot. He was talking nonsense.
Okay.
He watched by the way that he was responding when he was asking questions. I asked him, this is not a news channel. We are not accusing anybody. I did not even take names. This is a film. And this is a fictional story. In my fictional story, certain person is a bad guy. Right? In my story, certain person is a good guy. How can you not see that? So what he's saying is, if I'm giving an example. If there is a sub-inspector in a police station, he cannot do a bad thing. He should not do a bad thing. He cannot beat somebody, So I'm like, I even asked him, why don't you start censoring at the script level itself? Make it a mandatory for every filmmaker before making the film, send in the script, and then you cut the script. And then he's like, yeah, there is a provision. No, make it a mandatory.
Okay.
There is, let's not talk about provision. So he was talking, he was not making sense. I was like, if this was the case in the 70s and 80s, and what would happen to Amitabh Bachchan became an angry young man because he was asking questions to the so when you cannot say something against the government, you cannot ask a question, raise a question. What kind of a country are we living?
Right.
This is not democracy anymore, right?
We've seen this a lot happening in states like Tamil Nadu.
I think that is one of the reasons. I think Marcel was one of the reasons why I had to face the brunt.
Because they were being overcautious.
Yeah, they're being very. This is not even called overcautious. This is like bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
Your previous film, right? Guntur Talkies.
Right.
This is an adult comedy. You were very happy with an A certificate there.
Oh yeah.
Because that's
I knew right from the beginning. I knew I would get an A certificate. I wasn't shocked with the kind of cuts they asked me because I knew those would be the cuts. Yeah.
Right. Was that film also a testing ground for you to see what are the genres that you can make? Because you debuted with a romantic drama, a nice romantic film, like LBW, and then you followed up with Routine Love Story, and then Chandamama Kathalu happened.
Right.
So was Guntur Talkies that big switch over that you were looking for?
After Chandamama Kathalu, I was drained psychologically.
What, enough of romance?
No, not just enough of romance, but it took a lot out of me because it's an emotional drama and all that. I wanted a complete switch. I wanted to do something funky and with a lot of spunk in it. I think it just reflected my state of mind back then at that particular point of time.
Okay, right. Talking about Chandamama Kathalu, that film went on to win a national award for Best Telugu Film. But did your life change after winning a national award, or it doesn't make a difference?
It did. Nothing has changed. Okay. Nothing has changed. I did not think that anything would change. Okay. But when the film released, the film did not do well in the box office. I was very disappointed. And I started questioning myself, whether that was the right film or whether, am I looking at things differently? So that was one of the reasons why I sent it to the National Award Committee, because until then I did not think that I would, that was not even in my list of things to do. So just to make sure that, you need that self-evaluation, right? So that's when I applied it, and the day I got a call, I'm like, what? Okay, good, not bad. So sure, we are heading in the right direction.
Sounds like an ego boost for me, because the audience didn't like the film, but there is some merit in the work that
absolutely. No, audience did like the film. The problem is, whoever watched the film liked it. Okay. It's people who were writing reviews, they didn't like it. So
was Guntur Talkies a revenge?
No. See, the revenge was national award.
Okay.
It's like slap on the face. Right. It's okay, guys. There's just.
Praveen, it's been almost 6 years since you've come into the industry. A little more than that, right?
Right.
So, have people embraced you in the industry, or have you become more comfortable with the kind of work?
I'm not a part of the industry. I do not want to be a part of the industry. I did not come to become a part of the industry. It's because I need my personal space. I need my family. I always want to go back home to my family, because that is when you will be in touch with reality. It is a quicksand. You will get sucked into it. very easily. So film is a film. It's like a job that I love to do. So that that is like wake up every morning. I want to go because I love what I do. But I always want to come back home to my family because that is reality. This is fake.
Okay. But when you're not part of a system, like a film industry where it's all about whom you know and how you network and how much you trust the other person.
Right.
When you approach your job as a job compared to something like a very big collaboration where everybody is in constant touch with each other, does it make your job all the more difficult, no? Because you have to work all the more hard to win their trust to work with you.
I think the work speaks for you.
Okay.
So I always want to deliver what I feel and what I want to deliver, and that if I have it in me, it'll show. If I don't have it in me, I don't have it in me.
Okay.
There's no point in sugarcoating it and saying it, trying to portray that no, I have it. Look at it. So I've always been honest with what I've done, and I've never. I can't approach people, with scripts and, yeah, this is a good script. I mean, I did a couple of times, but normally I don't. Producers who've come to me are people who watched my films and who loved the kind of work I do, and actors also, who have come.
Going by the conversation that we've had so far, like I can sense that there was a lot of rebellious streak in you when you started out, where you want like, why can't we make different cinema?
Right.
Probably that was the approach initially.
Right.
6 years in an industry, 4 films down the line, like, are you still the same person, or has that rebellious stuff gone down?
I think the trailer should have answered that question already.
Okay.
I mean, the reason why I came into the industry still holds the same, and still will hold the same.
Right.
Because I've not come here for instant fame. I've come here to make good films that I love making, and that is where I find happiness, and not anywhere else. So I'll keep doing films that I want to do.
Okay. It's been a fairly good year for Telugu cinema. No? We've had like,
Right.
a lot of hits.
True.
So, but from somebody who's directing films and interacting with a lot of people across
Right.
across the spectrum, what's been the biggest change that you've noticed in recent times?
Lot of new filmmakers are coming on board.
Okay.
So a lot of rebellious filmmakers are coming on board. That is the good sign. And I think Telugu industry is the only industry this year which made a profit.
Yeah.
Hindi, was bad. Tamil was bad. Malayalam is another industry, doing good. But Telugu is the only one doing better. But a lot of new young talent is coming on board. And what I've noticed is after Baahubali, the market just opened up. Opened up, and it doesn't matter how much budget you put into your film.
Okay.
The film is good. They are showering you with 20-30 crores. Okay. Two best examples. One is Guntur Talkies, which released. Nobody knew that it collected 21 crores.
Are you serious? Even I didn't know.
Even I didn't know until recently. And one of the distributors from Nizam, he was talking like, do you even know how much Guntur Talkies got? I'm like, I don't know. I maybe 6, 7. No, it collected 21 crores.
Okay.
So again, that's where the producer comes into play, how he promotes a film. Because we are living in a society where number of views is counted as the biggest success.
Right.
Right.
True.
And putting crores on the second day, 100 crores on the second day is become, so I'm sure they're preparing those those hoardings even before the film release. But again, and then there is the other kind, which who doesn't even publicize how much the film made and all that. And Arjun Reddy is another one. Was made in what, 2 crores, less than 2 crores, and everyone else rejected in the script. Every independent filmmaker, producer has rejected the script, and it went on to collect what, 30-40 crores. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who the hero is, who the heroine is, whether the hero is in form or not. Doesn't matter. All it matters is a good poster and a great trailer.
Perfect. Talking about Arjun Reddy, right? So every once in a while we come across a film that like, literally shakes up things
Absolutely.
and forces you to refresh the status quo.
Absolutely.
So was Arjun Reddy that sort of
Yes.
film?
This Arjun Reddy is the film for the decade.
Okay.
For this decade. It made the directors and the writers in the industry stop where they were, look back and see what they've done, and look forward and see what they're doing or what they're going to do. It changed everything. I hope we get better films going forward. And the reason why it changed everything is because the director, he trusted in himself. He trusted in his vision. He portrayed and he put what he thought, what he wanted to put across. That is where it is. You cannot attack a director from different angles and try to manipulate his story. As a book, you'll have only one author for a book. Why why does a story a screenplay writer, why do you have like 10 15 screenplay writers or the ghost writers or whatever. So a story is always comes from one person, and then let him do his job. As a producer, you need to trust him. If you don't trust him, don't do a film with him. But don't meddle with him. Don't try to manipulate him.
I've heard this from a lot of people that you don't like anybody interfering in your work, your vision.
Of course. No director would want anyone else to
But
interfere.
you're like, I don't want anybody to touch it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So how do you deal with it? I'm sure there's a lot of pressure.
That is exactly why I give away the script.
Okay.
That is exactly why I give away the script. If you have any questions, I don't just give away the script saying that this is it. This is the Gita. No.
Right.
I would give the script. I said, okay, come back with questions. So I take questions from my club boy to the senior actor. Everyone shoot me the questions. So if they're valid, I'll consider. If they're not valid, I'll just brush it aside.
Right.
So because everyone in the unit has to have that trust in the product in the project that they're doing. So you need to gain the trust. So it's better to be open than to hide what you're trying to do.
Going by the trailer of Garuda Vega, it's a very ambitious film, and you yourself consider it's a larger-than-life action drama. But if I could look back 5 years from now, Telugu cinema we never heard of terms like counter-terrorism or a hero from Hyderabad or AP or Telangana going to some other country and fighting their war.
True.
Although they might have some local connections, but do you see this as a new trend where people are not afraid to make our local heroes as an international hero?
Okay. The first thing I want to clear is the film does not go out of the country. We had to shoot in places out of the country because we couldn't get permissions in India to shoot. So the film is very local, and the story happens in India, and it's a contemporary issue that we are facing in India, a deep-rooted contemporary issue that nobody would want to address and would always want to ignore. Secondly, the world has opened up. The world has opened up. There is Interpol. I've met a couple of colonels in Delhi while I was on a jury duty, and they were talking about a joint operations with Pakistanis, Russians, Afghanis, and Indians in one team, under a Pakistani head. So these borders and these conflicts are politicians driven and manipulated, to get votes and stuff like that. But when beyond the borders, it's good versus evil.
Right.
So and we are slowly opening up to military based stories, navy based stories, and all that. Right. So I think future we could see those connects with international, cross-border connections. When the story is authentic, you wouldn't feel difference, uh, or you wouldn't feel like it's defying physics.
Okay. Right.
Right. So the story, again, it again comes back to educated people coming into industry and directing films.
Interesting point there, because there is a concept, there's a notion that you don't need to be educated to make films. You're purely reflecting your own life experiences and all that. But you have a very different take on it, right? So,
I mean education. I mean not a degree.
okay.
By education, I mean exposure. You need to be a well-read man. How can you become a director if you're not well-read, or if you haven't understood how the society works or what's happening? Life is not in Hyderabad alone, or just in AP or Telangana alone. It's beyond what we sitting here doesn't even know what's happening in Gujarat or what's happening. We don't even care. Forget about beyond borders. We think that we're living in a democratic country and we have resources opening. You open up YouTube and see the trending list. The most stupidest videos are on trending list.
Yeah.
I mean, where are we heading as a society together? We're going back into Stone Age. So it's our mindset. We are putting ourselves in the box and closing the lid on top. So when the future directors are going to be like that. The future directors who are not well read, who are not exposed, will follow these YouTube videos who are trending with Jabardast and some stupid shows, and they'll start. That is exactly what you see in films, right? You see those same comedians, making fun of something, and then with a so-called ghost, and films are becoming a hit. I mean, as a society, we are becoming more stupid by the day.
Right. Working on Gopichand's biopic next, Pulal Gopichan. So, when did you first come up with that idea, or did somebody motivate you to look into that aspect, or what's happening on that front?
Sudhir Babu came up with that, actually. We met for another project 3 years ago, during the time of Chandamama Kathalu. And he said, and he's like, I always wanted to make a film on Gopichan. I actually wanted to debut with Gopichan's biopic. And I said, yeah, that's it. That is the one we would want to do. Nothing else. So that is when we started working on that project. It took quite a while to gather information, and it was very hard to put his life into a script, because the drama in his life is beyond what you see on celluloid. It's if it wasn't a real life story, you would think it's all made up. I mean, it's too much melodrama, but no. Everything, I had to tone the drama down.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, so much that happened in his life, and everything is so dramatic. Oh my God, give him a break. But again, it's all positive. There is never a point where he would cry, or he would say, I give up, or this is no. It's almost like Swati Mutyam. When you watch Swati Mutyam, there's lot that he goes through, but again, there's that positivity in him. You would want to root for him, right? He never takes a no for an answer. That is the kind of attitude Gopi has. So once we put things together, then we started searching for producers.
Okay.
As usual, our producers are very narrow-minded. Would always see the commercial aspects, and finally, someone from Mumbai is heading the project.
Okay.
Details will be revealed soon, and we're making it in Hindi and Telugu.
So you're gonna start shooting in what? Early next year. What is it?
Early next year.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Before I conclude, I have to ask you this: what does the title mean? PSV Garuda Vega 126.
I can't really reveal that.
Okay.
PSV Garuda Vega 126.18 m. You have to watch the film. You have to watch the
There
film.
was a joke on FM that said that this sounds like a new radio station.
Well, I actually wanted the title Garuda,
Okay.
but that was taken. Then Garuda Vega. But again, it means something in the film. It's related to something in the film which I cannot reveal.
Okay.
Sorry.
Alright, Praveen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a
It was
lot.
a pleasure talking to you.
Hi guys, this is Praveen Sattaru, and you're watching me on Film Companion South. Please subscribe.